Okay, so now that we got the basics of circles, we labeled all the parts, I'm going to start showing you what circumference means. Here's a line, okay? This line is, I don't know, let's just pretend it's 15.99 feet. I just totally made that up right now, okay? I want to wrap this line and make it a circle. I want to make it a circle. My question to you is, if I were to begin walking here, I start. And I walk, and I finish where I started. What distance did I just walk?
15.9.
That was not a trick question. I walked 15.9 feet. This number has a new name when it's wrapped around a circle. This is called your circumference. The circumference is a distance around a circle. In our warm-up, we were talking about the perimeter. Perimeter is a fancy word to say the same thing for other shapes. If you had a garden and it was in the shape of a rectangle, you walk beginning here and you walk, come back to where you started. This is known as your perimeter, walking around a shape. A triangle has a perimeter as well. Any given shape has a perimeter. But for a circle, we give it a new name. We call it a circumference. Okay? Questions about what circumference means? We're going to start looking at how do we calculate circumference in a moment. So here's a formula I'd like you to memorize. C equals, here's this funny looking shape called pi times d. If you copy this into your teaching point earlier, we're going to start exploring it and using it right away. So everyone pretty clear then, huh? What circumference is? Yes. And let's start. Here's example A. A circle, let's call it a quarter, is given. And from the center to the line, or to the circle, what is this little line I draw called? The radius, which will be abbreviated with R. The radius is 0.3 inches. I just totally made that up, okay? Can we figure out the circumference of this quarter just with the information they gave us? Here's our formula. C circumference equals pi times d. Well, well, well. I only know the radius. What I don't know is the other half of the diameter. Christian? This is 0.3 or 3/10. This is 3/10. I can add them together or multiply by 2. The diameter is 0.6. Any questions on how we figured that? We were not given the diameter to begin with. We were given the radius. And so we multiply the radius by 2. Or we added 0.3 plus 0.3, ending up with 0.6. Okay. This little fancy sign comes from the Greek language. This is a letter pi. P-I, no E. Not food. And this pi is a number that you're going to be very familiar with and you're going to memorize for the rest of your life. Pi is equal to 3.14. Oh, shoot. Always. Okay? 3.14 times the diameter will give us our circumference. What we want to know. What is the distance walking around this circle? So, are there questions as to where any of these numbers came from? Very clear, huh? Let's make that our next movie. I'll explain the why in a moment. Here's the math. When I set up multiplication, it's probably best to put the longer number up top. And here we go. Once I multiply the numbers, don't forget that you must also count your decimal places. That's how many numbers are behind decimal points? 3. 1, 2, 3 moves at the decimal point then. Makes my final answer. This is how far you would walk around a quarter. You would walk 1 inch and 884 thousandths of an inch. So if we were to round it up, about 2 inches around this quarter. Okay? This is all make-believe. I don't know if a quarter really is 0.3 inches. It's probably smaller.